What is obviously is a track record on continental and global affairs. And I cannot answer these questions on behalf of any candidate, but I can share my personal experience and knowledge of the track record of Dr. Motsepe. Firstly, on development and school sport. He comes from a family with deep love, passion, commitment to football. He shows this commitment by supporting development and schools football in South Africa through the K Motsepe competition, a national schools competition where the prize money is 1 million rand that is invested in the educational initiatives at the schools, and whether it is for IT or football development. But it has transformed school sport in our country. And now we are ready to launch a national schools league for school sport. Secondly is investment in the ABC Motsepe League. This is a third division in South African football. It comprises 144 teams in 9 provinces or states. This league has acted as a major change agent for South African football teams to find their way into the professional ranks, and many of them are now competing in the top leagues in our country. His work in his club, Mamelodi Sundowns, when he acquired the club in 2013-14 season, the team was 10th on the local log. And 2 years later, he transformed the team to win the league and also to win the CAF Champions League and to become the first South African team to participate in the FIFA Club World Cup. During the FIFA World Cup in Russia, he made many insightful observations about the participating teams and said, African teams must perform better at this level. You would remember that all 5 African teams dropped out in the first round of the 2019 African Cup of Nations. This was just an observation in 2018. We now say, this must be your commitment and this is your challenge as a candidate.
All right, that was Danny Jordan, president of the South African Football Federation, endorsing Patrick Motsepe for next week's CAF presidential election. We have Francis Gator, an African football expert from Nairobi, to give us an update of the CAF elections. Good afternoon, Francis.
Thank you for hosting me. It's a pleasure.
First and foremost, what's the latest as far as the elections? It looks like Motsepe is running on a pause now.
Yes, Patrick, it's clear. Patrick Motsepe has no competitor after everyone stepped down for him last night. So he's the substantive CAF president, and what is only remaining is just a coronation ceremony on March 12th in Rabat. So,
well, how about Ahmad? You know, the CAS, Court of Arbitration for Sports, he has a case, a final verdict on Monday. What if he wins that verdict? Is it possible for him to win the verdict? Is it possible for him to get a good judgment from CAS?
Well, you know, with court cases, you can never be too sure or too certain about the outcome. It would also be prejudicial to speak about an ongoing case in court. I can only comment about the aftermath, and which is whether the ruling is favorable for him or not. He still has no future in CAF. It looks like within the last couple of weeks, FIFA President Gianni Infantino has consolidated his influence and his cover over African football. So even the FA president who would have voted for him, you'll remember that Ahmad in October of last year had garnered 46 letters of endorsement from of course 46 countries. But now I think everyone is in sync. Nobody wants to look like they are defying FIFA, and which is why you will see a term called colonialism being used by the media a lot.
And Francis, But Mr. Gianni Infantino has denied getting directly involved in CAF elections. He's denied it.
Yes. Yeah, Gianni Infantino is a pathological liar. He lies even when it's not necessary. I think you only need.
Why do you say he's the liar?
Augustine Senghor's statement.
Why?
Come again?
Why do you say he's a liar?
You only need to look, or you only have needed to look at Augustine Senghor's statement, which he released yesterday, and that was signed by him.
Let's look at the Augustine Senghor statement. I think we have that statement here. If we can get the only to look at that statement coming out, Augustine Senghor's endorsement. If we can get that letter from CAF. Yes, go ahead with that. We have the letter. But Senghor has stepped down for.
Yeah, he categorically says that he has accepted FIFA's proposal, which was also mediated by Egypt and Morocco. So it's clear. The candidates themselves are saying they negotiated with the mediation of FIFA.
Okay.
No way that
you know what, Francis? Can you hold on? I have two guests with us right here in Nigeria, so they might ask you a few questions. I have one of my guests here is he's played with Eimba. They won the African Champions League twice. You might want to ask you a question. Do you have any question for him about the CAF elections? He says, he feels that Patrice is the right person for the job.
Of course, Patrice is very well, what can you say, he has a catalogue of achievements. He's suitable for not just this, he could even be the next FIFA president, forget about CAF. What we are against is the inappropriate intervention by FIFA, whereby democracy has been suspended and people are making backroom deals. They go and negotiate.
Okay, my second colleague, I want to ask you. I want to ask you a question.
Yes, Patrick, well done. Thank you very much for the updates. If you look at it critically, 48 hours ago, Augustine Senghor was talking tough and coming out with a plan for him to be able to be a CAF president. And of course, you know that the Cote d'Ivoire candidate also, Jackie Anoma, was also talking tough and he has also withdrawn. And coming from the fact that they have proposed them to be vice president each for Patrick, don't you think that the level of intervention is high in terms of FIFA coming indirectly to man the democracy of CAF?
This is unprecedented. FIFA is meddling, they are interfering with our elections, they are forcing, they are blackmailing, they are bribing. And out of all of these, Africa is the loser.
Let me ask you a question again. Patrick, look at the candidates. Francis, look at the candidates. Patrick, Augustine, and Jackie. These are the three proponent candidates. If you look at their pedigree in terms of if you look at their pedigree in terms of financial support, youth development, football development in each of their countries, you discover that Patrick has an edge. What do you think?
We weren't here we were not, the parameters for elections in the CAF presidency are not necessarily about domestic achievements. So we never look at people based on what they achieved in their home countries. If you look at the historical recipients or holders of the offices, they've not been associated with any federation or club. So it's not a must that you must be judged based on your country, because you know in football it's a combination of factors which make you win. You need infrastructure, you need good players, you need good development. Sometimes you have one and don't have the other. We're not like Europe where they have everything combined. So you cannot really judge somebody from what they've achieved, but also achieving that is a plus. Which is why we were praising, or we were embracing Patrice Motsepe. And we were saying that him being a billionaire, him having achieved all he has done with his Mamelodi Sundowns club, he did not need FIFA's intervention. He did not need FIFA's bribing of FA president.
Let me ask you one question. You keep saying FIFA bribing FA president. Do you have any evidence that FIFA tried to bribe members of African football to vote for Motsepe. Do you have any evidence?
What normally happens, and if you have a historical context about football, you will remember something about Motsepe and why he was banned from African football.
The Liberian.
He alluded to a threat made by FIFA's personal assistant called Matthias Grabstrom, who told him that if he continues criticizing and refusing to endorse Fatma Sabura's employment at CAF as a special delegate, then he will be banned. He released that statement days before his actual ban was transmitted. So this is what FIFA does. They may not bribe you directly. Right now what they're doing is they give countries COVID funds. They give them millions of dollars in terms of COVID relief funds. They know FA presidents did not distribute this money to their clubs in the way that they should have. So what they tell FA presidents is, if you play ball, if you vote the way we vote, then we will allow you to squander the money that we will give you the immunity.
All right, somebody wants to ask you a question here.
We will threaten government, and we will threaten government with suspension if they dare arrest you or if they dare follow up on those funds.
Yeah, Francis. Hello, Francis.
Yes.
Yeah, my name is Mba Agukalo. I'm a member of former Enyimba ex-International Football Club. Can I ask you a question, please?
Yes, sir.
Please, all we have been talking here is corruption, squander money, and the rest of it. From FIFA to CAF and the rest of it. What I want to ask you, can't we run our election and administrative proposals and football and the rest of it? Can it go without corruption being involved, squandering of money? Can't we run them on clean slates? Is it not possible? Every president. Go ahead.
We can, but what we have a diabolical set of FA presidents. If you've ever met one-on-one with FA presidents from the continent, you try and give them a proposal, you try and engage them, they never want to listen, they only engage in gossip, they only engage in petty rivalries. So they will never embrace the professionalism that our European or our South American counterparts have embraced. That's why they are always at the mercy of FIFA, and which is why they always talk about FIFA, because they are looking at FIFA money instead of thinking of how to raise domestically, how to build our teams, how to build our infrastructure so that we can be self-sufficient.
Let me ask you one question, Francis. Francis, you're from Kenya, right?
Yes.
Where is your Kenyan Football Federation? Are you guys voting for Gianni Infantino? Where is your Kenyan Football Federation putting its heart in?
Number one, I don't speak on behalf of Kenya FA, so just as a clarification.
Yeah.
Number two, I don't know how the Kenya FA will vote. I know they have a candidate, or Kenya FA has a candidate who is competing against Nigeria's Amaju Pinnick for the FIFA Council. But from what I've heard is that FIFA has already compelled all the other delegates to step down on behalf of Amaju Pinnick.
So Amaju Pinnick is running unopposed too? Or it is
it's yet subject to confirmation. That is the word coming from Mauritania.
All right. You want to ask a question?
Yeah, Francis.
Yes.
Please, is it mandatory FIFA must ask all contestants to step down?
That's what I'm saying. This is very unprecedented. It has never been seen before. This is literally colonialism. This is imperialism. We've never seen this form of blatant and brazen show of power and force.
Francis.
So we are wondering why they are so desperate.
Yes.
What they want from Africa.
Yes. Francis.
Desperation has escalated over the last couple of weeks, where they were even threatening Ivory Coast with suspending the Africa Cup of Nations.
But let me ask you one question. You know, we had Francis. Sorry, we had a chat with this one. Can FIFA cannot suspend Ivory Coast from hosting the African Cup of Nations because that decision comes from CAF and not FIFA.
exactly. You and I know that's the truth.
Yeah.
You and I know that those are the statutes. But FIFA has literally colonized CAF, and which is why in June, Fatma Samura is coming to take over as the Secretary General, and from then on, they are going to...
Are you sure of this statement that Fatma Samura is coming to take over FIFA in June? CAF.
She's coming. She's going to be the Secretary General. She's been allowed by Patrice Motsepe to move with 11 members of support staff from Zurich, and her priority is to come and to recalibrate our competition. Remember, FIFA wants the Africa Cup of Nations to be hosted once every 4 years, and in the substitute they've created a Super League, which will be played and which is supposed to quench the thirst of Africans and regard to watching football. Remember also that FIFA forced CAF to terminate the Lagardère sponsorship agreement, which had guaranteed $1 billion.
But you know what, FIFA, we're not watching African football any longer on TV. And this is one of the things that Patrice wants to settle, that we can watch the Nations Cup back on TV, the African champions, they're back on TV. Ahmed hasn't done African football any good.
No, listen, Patrice did not mention anything about that. I watched his manifesto launch for 5 hours. He's passing off as clueless. He was speaking more about his achievements outside football. So remember this.
But yeah, he achieved a lot in football. I mean, his club has won the CAF Champions League. He's got Peter Mutsimane before he went to Al Ahly. Good players coming out from. So you know, when you say Patrice hasn't won anything outside football, I keep asking myself, but this is the owner of Mebolondo Sundowns.
That is a small representation of what football and African football is about. It's very diverse. We have different countries, different interests, different regions. It takes a lot of skill to just harmonize that together. And from how he was speaking, in fact, you will be told, or you will read somewhere, that the first thing when he met Augustine Senghor was Senghor told him, "You have 1 minute."
All right, I'm so sorry for that. That's the much we can take. But again, let's analyze what Francis Getu has said. I'm so sorry you couldn't ask him that question. But from what you've heard about the CAF elections, what's your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts on, according to Francis, our continental counterpart, I see that if you ask me, you can see all his, his statements from corruption, from FIFA to CAF
to colonial.
The last CAF president was suspended for corruption, up to 5 years ban, and the rest of it. So the wrong thing is telling us here is that money, corruption has played the role. And finally, you can see that FIFA has asked all contestants to step down. So if you ask me,
this is an allegation.
No, if you ask me, I think money has played a role in this.
Let me just say this. In as much as we talk about money, corruption, it is inevitable for the head, just like when we were in school in those days, the SU government and then the university management will always interfere in our election. You see, the top governments who are there and managing the whole continental affair will only be interested in how to move forward the continental movement. You cannot expect who is to conduct the election. It's under the supervision of FIFA. Okay, so Patrick is Francis is saying that, but FIFA's intervention is very, very high. You cannot stop FIFA from intervening into it. When there was a problem with Abe, FIFA came up and then brought by Fatima. So I think,
and I know what it's actually Gianni Infantino that helped Ahmad become the CAF president.
Yeah, he helped Venezuela because Ahmed was no longer doing what he was supposed to be doing as a president. He went the other way and began to mismanage the fund. So I think one thing is clear. In as much as FIFA has intervened, they'll be able to block Austin and Jackie from the proposed vice presidentship to all of them.
Let me ask you one question, guys. If Ahmad today on Monday is giving a clearance to run for the CAF election. It changes everything.
No, if he's giving a case to run, he's free to run election by Monday. I tell you,
the election is on Friday.
Yes, election is on Friday. If he's free on Monday, he has the all arsenal to be able to go in. But one, he no longer have the backing of FIFA. And according to Pinnick, he says they have done all the campaign and get not less than 40 votes. They are expecting not less than 40 votes for Patrick. Now they are looking at 54 votes in total. And if they are able to secure 40 votes, then this 40
but
votes.
But if he comes back, it could change, because some of those votes are people who change scam because Ahmad has been disqualified.
No, in as far as it is, I think the work they have done so far. Jackie has been around. Austin has joined Pinnick, and of course they are, and then South African FA president has also joined the campaign. They've been moving from one place to the other, and of course, just as you say, money has exchanged hands. Definitely, money will exchange hands when there's election. Even in our local elections here, it does.
But FIFA, there's a thing called FIFA ethics. And FIFA, when the part of FIFA ethics, corruption, money, and all this don't come together. You know,
even evidence that they have done that.
No evidence. He talks about COVID-19.
He talks about COVID-19 palliative. It is not only for
Let me hear from you.
Yeah, if you ask me, you heard Francis saying COVID-19 palliative, and he squandered and converted and all the rest. So you can see our African administrators, any opportunity that has to do with funds, you will hear one story or the other. Do you understand? So if you ask me, everything that is happening in CAF election, money has played the role. Remember that they said the man, the Molandi Samba boss, who is coming out as CAF president, has so much money, he's a billionaire.
Yeah.
So don't you think he would have made use of his
finance? Let me just look at. Apart from that, look at him as you see, he was talking about achievement at the small level. Let me tell you something. If you are given a small enclave to manage, and you do not manage it well, you cannot be given more responsibility to manage a larger one. So if Patrick could perform at that level, Melodano Sundown level, in terms of look at Jackie, the FA president of South Africa, he was telling about Jordan was telling about his achievements at the national level, which means it's like a philanthropist. He sponsors so many programs for the youth development of the game. So if somebody like him could come out and say, okay, let's put this into it, use his personal money to develop sports for the youth to grow, it means that when you give him more responsibility, he should be able to perform.
Okay.
So you look at what and then use that to move
my colleague, sometimes on this issue I somehow disagree with you.
On what that?
There's this American musician, Notorious B.I.G. One of his songs, he said more money, more problem.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Now, for so many of our leaders that has made money, I don't want to call names, they've made so much money before they went into politics. By the time they enter into politics, either they are governor or senator, check their history. They so much corruption charges here and there. Do you understand? So the higher you aspire, the more anxious of gathering. Do you understand me?
So the more you have, there is no possibility of being corrupt.
Yes. Look at let me give you an example. South African president that is charged with corruption. Former South African president Zuma is charged with corruption. So check it. All African leaders, administrators here and there, they always antagonize with corruption, money, and.
If you want to talk about African leaders and corruption, I think it's in the blood, because a lot of African leaders have had opportunity of raising something from one place to the other, and corruption has brought them down. So that's a different kettle of fish. If we begin to talk about that today, honestly, even the next 5 hours is not enough about corruption. But the fact remains that for you to come out and contest a position, you must have a pedigree. There's something that people will claim and say, because Kalu has done this is what it is. Kalu played the big game before with Enyimba. If Kalu does it to give Kalu to fish out younger players, Kalu may have a more opportunity than Onoja. So I think what you've done before will be able to protect you for the next position.
Well, let's move to Bayelsa State, because golf seems to be returning to that state, and President Goodluck Jonathan teed off a small mini golf tournament in Bayelsa State. We'll come back and look at the golf course, because it's not actually completed. The big question is, why should the golf course tournament be played in an uncompleted golf course?
microphone. Golfers all? Yes. Golfers all? Yes. Your Excellency, the former President of the Federal Republic.
Alright, well, that's President Jonathan Tinoff a golf tournament in Yenegoa, and it's nice that we have a golf course in Yenegoa, but the question here is that the golf course is not complete. And let's look at the golf course that he teed up. It's a nice one. It's 90% complete, guys. It's nice that we have a golf course in Yenegoa, but we are beginning to have a trend of uncompleted projects.
I think in as much as the golf, the club or the participant will not be completed, of course it is enough for them to be able to carry out again, and that's exactly what they have done with Angel. But the fact remains that other big cities are beginning to attract big boys in terms of, golf is a big boys game. A lot of big boys are there, and then they gather together for one discussion or the other, an association. So I think it's also another opportunity for Bayelsa. Bayelsa won a New Year state that was created, and they don't have much about golfing, so they need to do this.
In fact, most of the golfers in Port Harcourt, most of the golfers in Port Harcourt are Bayelsa.
Most of they are the other ploy to be able to draw their sons back home and say, let us develop home in terms of.
But this is golf course. This is golf. I mean, I like golf. I like to play golf, but this course, Abu, we talked about Rivers United Stadium.
Yes.
Is it nice for us to be playing golf in this kind of stadium?
No.
Let me get your question right. The question is that the
course I'm looking at now.
That's the course, yeah. That's what goes.
But you know that golf clubs, golf course are going to have obstacles. They want to create poles.
But this is not completed.
Yeah, that's you are saying the same thing. It's not been completed. We are looking at it. It should be a course in progress in terms of, but now they have launched it to tell people that yes, they can begin to play. Look at all the obstacles there. You can see someone. So I think when you see this, it shows that yes, this is a golf club. There's going to be trees in some areas, some bumps and even bowls of water, and these are.
Let me hear from Kalu. Kalu, what's your thoughts on this one? Do we play golf courses in this kind of? Can we play good golf in this kind of course?
No, you cannot.
Yeah.
You cannot. Though golf is not like football, because with my experience, I gathered at the Motsepe Stadium, close to the airport, bad pitch, which hindered the two teams playing like yes, But if you ask me, I think they should have been patient to accomplish this golf course
project. But one again, it wasn't started by the governor. Yeah. And we have the issue of when this governor finishes, another one doesn't want to complete the project.
That is the African or Nigerian mentality. Once you empower, you must have enemies. And if your incoming governor does not align with you, all your project will be, in fact, will be abandoned. River State is an example. Do you understand? So what I'm saying in essence is that they should have allowed that golf course field to be completed. Then the golf can kick off. That's how I see it. You saw how the pitch is. So how do you think you will give your 100% golf attendance?
Alright, we don't have enough time, but let's quickly look at the Nigerian football league, the matches we're expecting this weekend as far as FPFL is concerned. This is CAF Champions League matches coming up later today. Let's quickly look at them. Al Merrikh will take on Simba. That's a big match coming up today. Al Merrikh from Sudan against Simba from Tanzania. Then there's TP Motsepe against Mamelodi Sundowns. That's the club of Patrice Motsepe. They take on TP Motsepe of Congo. In fact, two presidents are very good friends. Then Kaizer Chiefs against Petro Atletico of Angola. These are the matches. AS Vita against Al Ahly of Egypt. No Nigerian club in the CAF Champions League. Even knocked out.
Yeah, honestly, it's a very unfortunate thing. When I look at these CAF matches, I become sad because Nigerian at this particular point in time, at this stage of our independence, we are not supposed to miss any CAF competition. Even if we are not winning it, let us be at the top 4, the top 6 or the top 16. We will be there. But look at us here, we are out of it. It is very, very sad. I think something has to be done. A revolutionary engineering in our football should come in at this point.
Let's look at the fixtures we're expecting this weekend, Carlo. Let me take you up in this one. These are the matches. If we can zoom in a little bit, Katsina United against Sunshine Stars, Rivers United against Jigawa Golden Stars, Adamawa against Zakada, Kano Pillars against Rangers. They're supposed to play, but because of the CAF Competition Cup, they're not playing this weekend. But let's stay Rivers United against Jigawa Golden Stars. They lost to Imba on penalties, lost to Aqua United 3-0, played out 1-1 against Plateau United on Thursday. They take on Jigawa Golden Stars. You fancy Rivers United 3 points against Jigawa?
Yes, we all know that Rivers United has not been in the past 2-3 matches. They've not been doing too well, and I think this is a home match for them. Yeah. And I'm very sure that they are going to gain that 3 points. I'm very sure.
They also have 2 outstanding matches also in the Nigerian Football League. Also look at Abia Warriors and Heartland. That's another Oriental derby. Yeah. Heartland, they moved their matches away from Okigwe. I think they moved their matches away from Owerri to Okigwe. Yeah. Yes. So Heartland. Let's talk about this club. They are facing issues, but they are still remaining able to grind results.
Yes, you might be facing issues and you're getting results. That depends on the underground work. There are some teams that will be going underground, but the club still faces its challenges. So the club still faces its challenges. So you can't tell. We are not the media officer or involved directly in the club. So something might be playing under the table. They see they are getting results.
One more before I go back to Oloja. Let's look at the table in the Nigerian Football League. This is what the table looks like now. Kwara United is number 1, Kano Pillars is number 2, Rangers is 3, Eimba is 4, Aqua is 5, Nasarawa is 6, Lobby Stars is 7, Rivers United is 8. Let me say with your team Eimba, your former team Eimba.
Yes, Gaga, if you ask me, the last time we were here, Enyimba was third thereabouts in the table, and now they've moved.
At one point they were leaders.
Yeah, so you can see Kwara United with 25 points, yes. And Enyimba has 24 points with outstanding match. 2 outstanding matches, and Kwara United, they've completed their matches by 13 matches in the league table. So if you ask me, I always tell you that anybody will
I think when the points are, the different leaders are having 1 or 2 points difference, anything can happen. A slip in the game changes the table.
Exactly.
Why that does not have what it takes to sustain this game.
Why do you say so? They've got some good players.
Yeah, the best of good players, we have seen their output, but I'm still not convinced by their play that they can succeed. 25 points, Enyimba has 24, and Kano Pillars has 25 points. A slip in any of them,
while Enugu Rangers has 23 points.
So even 23 can.
How about for Rivers United? They also have 2.
Honestly, Rivers United have played in CAF, they have gone out of CAF. They have gone back to home play. They lost their first home play after the CAF outfit. All-Star is against Aquara United. Scandalous loss of 3-0, and of course from that 3-0 away, and then they went to up their game in terms of playing a draw with Plateau United. I think they are trying to regain themselves by upping their game. I do hope that they are going to have their home win again and consolidate in the next away match.
We don't have enough time, but I'll ask my guest one more question. Super Eagles, they take on Benin Republic and Lesotho, and the gist in town is that they could be traveling by boat or by road or by flight. We don't know which one. What's your thoughts? You know, the boat issue, but you know, what the thing has come out, it's not just a normal small boat, it's a nice boat, ferry and all that, security and all that.
Zaga,
you shouldn't go by boat.
Yes, if you ask me. I know they want to make out something new, but if you ask me, we are not used to the Super Eagles are not used to traveling by boats. I don't know what the arrangement is like, but for Ganara to accept traveling by boat, that means Ganara. Yeah, the rumor is that they are going by boat.
It's not been confirmed. I think I have that interview. But I don't know what
it depends on the boat. If it's a cruise boat that I've used with some company before, honestly, it's as comfortable as staying at home. You don't even know you're riding on the sea. And the journey is relative. If going by air and by other COVID-19 protocols and other things that are there, I think that's why they are opting for the best by the boat. And if they are going by the boat, honestly, you need to get a cruise boat that people will not feel the impact of the journey.
All right, guys, that's how much we can take. Thank you very much, James Onoja, for being our guest today. Regular face in the house, and Mbakalo, excellent ball player. Thank you very much. Francis Gator from Nairobi, Kenya. Thank you very much, and Glorious Abel. Thank you very much. And for the cameraman Jane, thank you very much. The executive producer of the show, Pastor Daphne Guguabi, thank you very much. My name is Sopriye Godwin Jada from Nigeria, from Port Harcourt, saying catch you, God bless.
Thank you.